Hollow Man, a chilling story. Section 1, The Arrival. The wind cut across the small mountain town like invisible knives, carrying with it the sharp smell of pine, snow, and something else, something metallic. Evelyn had always loved the mountains in winter, but this time, the landscape felt oppressive. The peaks too tall, the forest too silent. She had driven 4 hours from the city to spend a weekend in her late grandmother's cabin. It was a place she had visited every summer as a child, but winter had transformed it into something alien. The windows were coated with ice crystals, the trees bent under heavy snow, and the single road in was flanked by blackened, skeletal trees from an old fire. As she unloaded her bags, Evelyn noticed something strange. There were footprints in the snow leading away from the front door. They weren't hers, and they weren't her grandmother's. She'd been dead for 3 years. The prints were barefoot in this freezing cold. She tried to dismiss it as a trick of the snow or a neighbor passing through. But deep down, her chest tightened with a quiet gnawing unease. Section 2. The first night inside, the cabin was just as Evelyn remembered. The old stone fireplace, the bookshelf stacked with dusty novels, the floral couch. But something about the air felt wrong. Too still, too cold. She built a fire, poured herself tea, and tried to relax. The storm outside began to pick up, snow tapping against the windows in irregular bursts. Around midnight, she woke to a sound. Not the wind, not the snow. It was breathing. Slow, ragged, and impossibly close, as if someone stood right beside her bed. Her heart thudded in her ears. She reached for her phone on the nightstand, but before she could grab it, the breathing stopped. Silence. Then, the sound of footsteps moving away, across the ceiling. The cabin had no attic. Section 3. The Hollow Man appears. The next day, Evelyn decided to investigate the source of the noise. She inspected the ceiling, but found no trapdoors, no crawl spaces. Still, she couldn't shake the feeling that someone, or something, was in the cabin with her. Around dusk, while she was sitting by the fire, she caught movement out of the corner of her eye. In the reflection of the glass window, she saw a figure standing behind her, tall, gaunt, and its head was wrong, hollow. Where a face should have been, there was only darkness, an empty void framed by pale human skin. Evelyn spun around, but the figure was gone. When she looked back at the window, there was a smear, like a greasy handprint, right where the figure had stood. Section 4. The Whispers. That night, the whispers started. At first, Evelyn thought it was the wind slipping through cracks in the walls, but the words were too clear. You shouldn't be here. Give it back. She clutched the quilt to her chest, forcing herself not to respond. But when she shut her eyes, she saw it. The Hollow Man, crouched in the corner of her room, his void-like face slowly turning toward her. The whispers grew louder until they became a harsh, inhuman screech. Then, all at once, silence. The fire had gone out. Section 5. The Discovery. The next morning, Evelyn searched every inch of the cabin. She found nothing, until she remembered the old cellar door in the kitchen. It was nailed shut, the wood brittle with age. She pried it open with a crowbar and descended into the dark, her phone flashlight cutting through thick cobwebs. In the far corner, she found an old trunk. Inside were bones. Small, child-sized bones wrapped in faded fabric. And on top of them, her grandmother's locket. Her stomach churned. She remembered her grandmother telling her about a boy who had gone missing from the town decades ago. The police never found him. Section 6. The last night. That night, Evelyn packed her bags. She was leaving at first light, but around 3 a.m., a loud thud echoed through the cabin, then another, closer each time. She grabbed her keys and ran for the door, but it wouldn't open. It was as if something was holding it shut from the outside. The footsteps were behind her now. She turned slowly, and there he was, the Hollow Man, standing in the center of the room, head tilted unnaturally to one side. The darkness where his face should be seemed to pull at her, like it could swallow her whole. He raised one long skeletal finger and pointed at her. "Give it back!" The locket. She pulled it from her pocket and threw it at him. The Hollow Man bent down, picked it up, and slowly faded into the shadows. Section 7. The escape. The door swung open on its own. Evelyn didn't hesitate. She ran into the snow without looking back. The storm had cleared, and the moon lit her path down the road. She didn't stop running until she reached her car. When she finally looked behind her, she saw the cabin, and in the upstairs window, the Hollow Man.